Hello, dear friends and colleagues. I'm Dr. Adam Blanning, and I would like to very warmly invite you to this summer's conference, which will be a very special event, August 6th to 10th in Spring Valley, New York. We will gather for a joint medical and pedagogical conference. The title is The Arc of Becoming. And I think what's very special about this is that it meets several different kinds of synchronicity, several different kinds of collaboration that are probably happening for the first time on this continent. The planning for this special conference began more than 2 years ago, and it was sparked by meetings that were happening at the Care1 in Dornach, where there was a special Care1 Congress. And within the medical section work, there are 5 different care areas that have been worked with really quite diligently over the last 7 years. The first one has to do with pregnancy, birth, and the first years of life. The second with infections, fever, inflammations, antibiotic resistance. The third with more problems for the middle of life, for the teenage years, things like anxiety, depression, sleep disorders, trauma. Then care number 4 is about oncology, and care 5 about palliative care and end of life. And so there's been a lot of work done in these different areas, but a Care1 conference has never before happened outside of Switzerland. And these have been quite big meetings, but it was thought about 2 years ago when this meeting was happening in the springtime that wouldn't it be nice if we could bring together early childhood educators, doctors, nurses, therapists, now also midwives, and caretakers for small children, and really see what is it like for children right now to be coming into the world. It's not such an easy place to enter into. There are challenges for how we come into our body. I think that process is not as easy as it used to be. There's also so much stimulation and information that comes to children that it can be overwhelming. And sometimes you sense they're not quite ready to fully engage with this world yet. And what's very interesting is Steiner's description a little more than 100 years ago that a time would come when the educators need to start becoming healers, and the healers need to become more active in their teaching and their education. And it feels like we're very potently at a time where the medical and therapeutic needs of small children are extending outside of the medical office, and at the same time trying to bring holistic pictures for children's development that's happening on body, soul, and spirit levels. That's such an urgent need that as people working in the medical profession, as people working in healing support, we need to share this information with people as broadly as possible, because it's really not so accessible or so evident in the ways we're approaching medicine and development today. So this is quite a unique opportunity to help this process happen. We are very lucky that Karin Michael, who is a co-leader of the medical section, a pediatrician, and very, very active in the Care1 work in Europe, she's going to become and featured as a keynote speaker for the conference. We also have Philip Roibke. Philip is a kindergarten teacher who is a co-leader of the pedagogical section at the Goetheanum in Europe. And he will be coming to give a workshop during the conference. He will also be helping to guide in some special sessions about child development and child study, and will be contributing to an introduction to the School of Spiritual Science to see what is this special part of the Anthroposophic Society where we can really deepen our thought about the threshold of the physical and the spiritual world. And as part of that, there will be a one-day pre-conference for people who are members of the School of Spiritual Science, those who are blue card holders. But at the end of that day, there will also be an introduction about this kind of specific spiritual work devoted more towards self-development, which is open to anyone. So we're very happy that both Karin Michael and Philip Roibke will be coming. Another keynote speaker is Debbie Lauren, who brings an amazing amount of experience and research. She's very, very active in terms of understanding children's movement and very prominent within the activities of Waldorf early childhood education. And our keynote lectures are going to be something which are paired in some way, meaning that on the first day there will be a medical picture, and then that will be handed over to a next keynote presenter. And actually, the way things are arranged is that medicine will hand over to midwifery. And another very special, auspicious part of this conference is really a launch of anthroposophic midwifery for the continent of North America. Our third keynote speaker is Johanna Hönig. She is very dynamic, very experienced, very connected to trainings in many different places, and brings really a very special insight in terms of how anthroposophic perspectives and tools can be brought into the practice of midwifery. And we're really looking forward to welcoming midwives from different countries and seeing how this can be an important step for this work to take hold in North America. But in terms of the keynotes, medicine will present and then hand off to midwifery. And at the next keynote, midwifery will present and then hand off to education, to pedagogy. And then in the third, pedagogy will present and hand off to medicine. So these will really be conversations that are happening together. And as we are entering a second century of anthroposophic medicine and Waldorf education, it feels like we need to be in conversation with each other. We need to be re-enlivening, reminding, in some ways maybe reforming our communities, and this collaboration that can happen between different fields is so important. I really think we're getting to a place where you can't solve things by yourself. And the children certainly need people who are lovingly supporting and observing them and meeting them from many different sides. So this is from the classroom, this is from the parents, this is from caretakers, this is from the medical care that they receive. And while this conference is oriented to pregnancy, birth, and the first years of life, I think that we're really going to see a lot of considerations of threshold and how do we come into a new state of being, which are actually applicable in many, many different parts of life. I could share that in April, just shortly, not too long ago, I was in New Zealand and then Australia. And in Australia, we had a special conference which was devoted to the beginning of life and the end of life. And it was amazing how there was a kind of reciprocal work, a resonance between what are the activities we need to do to take hold of our body when we are coming into life at the beginning, and also what are the processes we need to do to renew and refresh and make more conscious that connection when we meet chronic illness, when we meet cancer. So it was very, very striking that even though we were talking about maybe quite different parts of biography, the pictures were the same. And out of that experience, I really can share quite confidently that these pictures for young children, how they are met, how they are greeted, how they find capacity in themselves should resonate through any kind of educational, caregiving, medical work that you are doing. So we really look forward to this kind of synergy of coming together. And we're hopeful that actually this process of the care group work, focusing on different areas, will start to spread to multiple continents around the world. But really, this is the first time that a Congress related to one of these specialty areas is going to happen outside of Central Europe. So please join us in this gathering. And it's hard to know exactly when this constellation of individualities and intention will come together again. It's a long way to go from the US to the Goetheanum, but we are having multiple people come from the Goetheanum to contribute to this North American impulse, but also really to perceive what is happening and living in the work that we are doing here. And we would love it if people can participate from the US, from Canada, from Mexico, that this is really a continent-wide celebration and a step forward into our second century of Waldorf education and anthroposophic medicine. We welcome you and look forward to seeing you there.